Okay, well, I guess we can go ahead and get started then. So, um, good morning. Uh, we'll quit a few minutes early so we can get the seating chart dealt with. Um, and so, if you guys need to move around, everybody can see the screens okay and hear me okay, and so on. Uh, if not, then you guys have to engage in gladiatorial combat from 6 feet away from each other for safety, but also combat, right? Yeah. Anyway, okay. So let's kind of recap where we were last time, which was we talked about the seven different circuit components, um, and so we had our little reference sheet there on the right, which I think I still need to put this up on Canvas. Um, Okay, so the seven different logic gates. So let's just go through them. Which ones are which? Well, I mean they're labeled, right? So and, or, not, NAND, nor, XOR, and in XOR. There's nothing special about the order I put them in, right? It's just tried to do something somewhat logical. Okay, so right, so we've got those different circuits now. When what all of these circuits do is, or combinations of them, are going to compute what we call a Boolean operation. So Boolean, named after, well, an adjective named after George Boole, who did a bunch of mathematical logic and stuff like that in the 19th century. So a Boolean thing is something that's either true or false, on, off, 1, 0, right? That's it. There's no intermediary options, okay? Um, and so if we start just randomly making up circuits that have these components in them, it's potentially possible that we could make a circuit that could actually be simplified in some way. Okay, so for example, I've got this circuit here, right, that has two NOT gates followed by an AND gate. And so what we want to do is sort of say, okay, what is this actually doing? What is this circuit doing? Okay, and so in the same way that we drew a truth table over there on the right-hand reference sheet for um, all of our components, we could do that for this circuit in number two. Okay, so take a minute, scribble it out on paper, and come up with the truth table for this circuit. Now, it's good. The truth table will start looking like this, but you'll just have blanks where the uh, entries are, and then figure out, well, what are they going to be? Okay. All right. So does that make sense? The question, right? And so you're going to be determining four different output values, one for each of the four potential input patterns, right? Because you could have 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, or 1, 1. All four are possible. And I need to put like Jeopardy music on the stream or something. I made affiliate yesterday on Twitch. So now I'm going to be rolling in the money. No, not really. Sweet, sweet ad revenue. Okay, so what we get if both inputs are 0? Yes, it's on. Okay, why? Right. So if A and B are both off, 0, when you pipe them through the NOT gates, it's going to come out of the NOT gate on, both of them. Okay, which then goes into the AND gate, And if we've got on for both inputs on the AND gate, we get what out? On. Okay. So if both inputs are off, we get on. What about if A is 1 and B is 0, or vice versa, A is 0, B is 1? We're going to get the same thing here. Okay. It'll be off, and the reason is, right. So if one of the inputs, either A or B, is on, whichever one, it'll get turned off by the NOT gate, and so the input to the AND gate will be has one off, and that's all it takes to torpedo it. Okay. Similarly, then, if both inputs are on, A and B, then what's coming out of both NOT gates is off, and so the AND gate would be off, right? Okay, so to recap then, the only time that that circuit is outputting on is if both inputs are off. Yes? Do we have a circuit component that does that? Yes, we do. Which one is it? It's the NOR gate, right? So this thing here is really a NOR gate in disguise. Okay, and I can hear somebody talking. Maybe you're on Discord. I can barely hear you. Somebody's on Discord, I think, maybe. Nope, never mind. I'm just old at hearing things. Okay, so, oh no, I bet you it's coming out from over here because I didn't mute this computer. There we go. Okay, so what we have there is a NOR gate in disguise. And what we have basically just discovered is a thing called De Morgan's laws. So, oops, I'm sorry, I've got this in the way. So, so think like to your algebra from high school or whatever, right? If you've got, let's say, A times B, or A plus B, maybe that's a better example. And you put that in parentheses, and then you throw a minus sign out front, what can you do? Right, so if I have minus the quantity A plus B, how else could I write that? Negative A minus B, or let's say negative A plus negative B. Okay, so there's sort of a distribution that goes on there. And that kind of, with logical stuff, happens. The only difference is that if you negate an or, you get an and. Okay, so think about it this way. Under what circumstance is A or B false? If both A and B are false, right? So and or kind of have an almost opposite relationship to each other. Okay. And that's what we've, in a sense, just sort of discovered with circuit number 2. Okay, good. Any questions? What questions do you have on circuit number 2? Okay. So the sort of salient point here is, let's say we were designing some complicated circuit to do something or other, right? And we found ourselves putting in something that looked like number 2. Well, we could realize, oh, I could actually build that using a single NOR gate, and that might be easier in terms of the number of transistors or whatever that it took to do it, right? So, yeah. Now, what about number 3? So it's the same idea. We've got 2 inputs, 1 output. What is this one going to do? Okay, so again, take a few minutes, scribble out your truth table, okay, and see under what circumstances this thing's going to be on and when is it going to be off. Okay, Gucci? Yeah. And looks like we got 6 people in the stream. Wonder if Dr. Dunaway's in there. Nope, no Dr. Dunaway. Oh well. He's taking his daughter to the bus stop. Okay, so this one's maybe a little bit more complicated, but oh, and also just to make sure we're clear on this, right here, the wires don't actually touch there, right? So the input B is an input to both gates, and so I put a little break right there just to make it look like one wire is going under the other. That's all I meant. So anybody got plans this weekend? I mean, we're not having big parties, right? On the subject of big parties, I take it you all have seen what has started to happen at big universities. I can hear you, Coy. I can, Coy, but it's just there's going to be a lag on the response. So, has anybody ever been out to Shades or Turkey Run? Yeah, that'd be a great thing to do this weekend. You can be outside. The weather is going to be gorgeous. It's a giant state park, so sort of by definition, you will be socially distanced, not going to wild parties like the morons in North Carolina. Okay, so what'd you guys get? So if A and B are both off, what do we get for our output? Off? Agreement? Okay, so let's reason through it just to make sure. All right, if A and B are both 0, what's going to come out of the AND gate? Also 0. Okay. What's this gate again? This is a NOR gate, right? So, no, Coy, Xor would have a little extra bar at the back, like, so look on the right-hand side of the screen and compare the OR gate with the Xor gate. This one's a NOR gate. It's got the loop at the end, but not the little bar at the back. Okay, so so AND gate there, right? So if both inputs are 0, we'll have a 0 as the output from the AND gate. And what will we have for the output of this gate? A 1, right? Because it's 0 or 0 is 1. Or, sorry, 0 or 0 is 0. And then you negate it because of the loop at the end, so it's a 1. So what do we have coming out of this one? 0. What do we have coming out of this one? Okay, so 0 or 1 is 1, negate it, 0. Okay, so if both inputs are 0, this thing outputs 0. All right, what about if it's one of them is 0 and the other one is 1? Same? Okay, you guys agree? No, you don't agree. What do you think? Okay, so let's reason through it. So let's take A being 0 and B being 1. All right, if A is 0, what comes out of the AND gate? 0, no matter what B is, okay? If B is 1 and A is 0, OR would give us a 1, negate it, we get a 0. So what's coming out of both of the first two gates? Zeros. 0 or 0 is, careful, 0 or 0 is 0, and then negate it, and so we get a 1. Okay, so if we have 1, 0, or 0, 1 as our inputs, is this one symmetric? So does it work the same way if A is 1 and B is 0? Maybe. Well, which is it? Okay. All right, so let's go through it again. All right, so let's say A is 1 and B is 0. Well, what's coming out of the AND gate? 0, just like before. What's coming out of this gate? Also 0, okay? Which means it's the exact same situation as we had a minute ago. Yes?
Do you think you could draw one of the two cards on the board to just see how you would make the
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Actually, you know what? I could do one better because this way Coy and everybody online can see it too. Yeah, instead of just saying it all out loud. All right, hang on 1 second, guys, while I get another 15 cables out and 7 adapters and 12, 12 thingamajigs. Oh, and I also need the fancy schmancy pencil. Okay, so une minute, s'il vous plaît. Okay, so I'm going to switch over my display to the iPad. And hopefully it'll switch over correctly. Yes. Oh, no, wait. Why are we not seeing anything? Nope, there it goes. Okay. Just took a second. And now you guys on the screen can't see it here in the room, so let's switch back to OBS. And okay. So let me just sketch out the circuit that we had. So we had an AND gate, and then we had an NOR gate, and then we had another NOR gate. Okay, so I'm sorry my art skills are severely lacking. Okay, that's what we had, right? Good. Okay, so so for this mystery circuit, we have, what are the 4 inputs that we can have, right? Both 0, both 1, or mixed. What did we get when we had both 0 as our inputs? We got 0, okay? Good. What did we get when we had both, one of them a 0 and the other one a 1? We got a 1 for both of them, okay? And then finally, this is the one that we haven't gone through yet. What did we get, or what will we get if both inputs are 1? Okay, so if I have 1 and 1, what's coming out of the AND gate? A 1. What's coming out of an OR gate if it's 1 and 1? Okay, a regular OR gate would be a 1, but this is a NOR gate, so what actually comes out of it? 0, okay? And then we've got another OR gate, or NOR gate rather. So 1 or 0 would be 1, but this is a not OR gate, so it negates back to 0 as the output. Do you guys buy that? Yes? Okay. And so we have a 0 there. Okay, which of the, so now we have this truth table for this mystery circuit, right? Okay, first off, do we agree that we have everything filled in correctly on the truth table for the mystery circuit? Okay, good. Now, which circuit is that? Is there a truth table in our reference sheet that has exactly that? Or sorry, a circuit component that has exactly that? There is. Which one is it? XOR, okay? So this is an XOR gate in disguise. And it's a really bad disguise because my art obviously is not particularly great, but you'll forgive me, right? Okay. Okay, so this is really an XOR gate. You jumped 5 steps ahead of me, Coy. Okay. Um, all right, fantastic. So this sort of kind of thing makes sense? Yes.
When you were running through the NOR gates,
Mm-hmm.
you did the step of thinking it as an OR gate and then negating it. Is that the best way to kind of logically go through negation?
Okay, so the question for those of you at home was when we went through a NOR gate, I thought of it as, well, first it's an OR gate, and then I negate whatever the output of it is. Okay, so the question was, is that the best way to think about that? I mean, that's how I like to think about it. So by definition, it's the best. No, not really. So yeah, I mean, the benefit to that is you don't have to memorize the truth table for the NOR or the NAND gates because you just think about it as being an AND or an OR gate and then negating the output, right? So it maybe reduces the number of things to do it simultaneously. That's probably why I think of it that way, just to think of one thing and then deal with a little loop on the end. Yeah, that's probably why I do it that way. I mean, that's certainly not the only way to think about it, but at least that's how I usually do. Okay, good. So in both of these examples, we had circuits that had just 2 inputs. Okay. Um, could we start putting together more and more of these things and making really complicated circuits that have like 4 inputs or 8 inputs or who knows how many inputs? Sure, of course, right? I mean, it's sort of a rhetorical question. And so the question we want to ask is, what ways are there to sort of represent the different patterns that we'll get if we do that? Okay, so these circuits, all, or the ones, this one that's on the screen now, and then the one that we did right before it, 2 inputs, 1 output. We could imagine circuits that have 4 inputs and also 4 outputs, or any kind of combination thereof. They'd be probably pretty complicated, but we could certainly do that. And so if we have a circuit with, say, 4 inputs, or let's say a ridiculous number of inputs, let's say something absurd like 64, right? Do I really want to write 64 either zeros or ones? Probably not. That's going to be cumbersome, tedious, it'll take up a lot of room. And so what we want to do is develop sort of a shorthand. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to Word here just because my handwriting is terrible. And I just need to type something. So let's go. Let me just blow this up, full screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and let me blow the font up so that it's nice and visible for you, is let me take, just for sake of example, and this is sort of the fundamental place that we'll start. Let's imagine we have some hypothetical circuit that has 4 inputs. Okay, who cares how many outputs it has, at least for the moment? Well, if there are 4 inputs, how many different patterns are there for the inputs, right? If each input could either be a 0 or a 1, and they can all be 0 or all be 1 or any kind of combination thereof, how many total combinations would we have to consider if there's 4 inputs? Huh? 16. Okay, why is it 16? Oh, so it's coincidence that it is that. It's 2 to the power of 4. Okay, now in this case, 4 to the power of 2 happens to be the same number, but yeah. So the reason it's 2 to the power of whatever is how many choices do we have for a given input? 2. And there are 4 such inputs. Well, the inputs are independent of each other, right? They have nothing to do with one another. So the number of ways to do this, you just multiply the number of ways for each choice. Okay, so 2 for the first input, 2 for the second, third, and fourth, and 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. Okay, 2 to the 4th. If we had, for example, only 3 inputs, how many patterns would there be? 2 to the power of 3, which is 8. Okay, and if we only had 2 inputs, then it would be 2 to the power of 2, 4 patterns, and that's exactly what we saw with our 2 example circuits a minute ago. Okay, so does that make sense? Okay, so each input or output, whether it's a 0 or a 1, we're going to call that a bit. Okay, so it's either a 0 or it's a 1. So if I have 4 bits, 4 inputs, then we said there's going to be 16 such patterns. Okay, let's list all of them out. All right, so what's the first place, with the logical place to start? How about all zeros? Okay, and down at the bottom, where should we probably end? All ones. Okay, and then in between, I'm going to go into a very particular pattern, which at first is going to seem somewhat random, but I promise there's a method to the madness, and we'll talk about this later. Okay, so looks like I can't quite get all 16 on the screen at the same time, but well, first off, let's make sure that I do in fact have 16 and that I'm not just being a total moron this morning, which is of course entirely possible. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, okay, so Coy says he can't see anything, and I've been having a bug, Coy, with it not displaying things. So let me display capture, display 0. Okay, so for whatever reason, Coy can't see anything. Okay, Coy, I don't know what the problem is. I think I'm going to have to quit the stream and then start it over. Let me try going to a different input. Nope. Okay, Coy, I don't know what the problem is, man. Let me quit this. And oh no, I know that, Coy, that there's a delay. Okay, Coy, I'm going to stop the stream and start it over. I'll be right back.